I'm going to add 1 plant per day until my entire background is filled with glorious green, okay? If you want to see the 92 riot deaths, National Guard was sent in on day 3 and military sent in on day 4. Okay. On the night of April 29th, the governor came out and said, we have made available about 2,000 California National Guardsmen. Transport has been arranged. Oh, for the LA riots? Destiny should get a job typing the court transcripts. He's so fast. So I don't know how much typing speed actually correlates to your ability to do the transcript stuff, because I think, or maybe there are some people that just straight type, but in the past, those people would have been stenographers who kind of have their own, it's like its own thing. Like if you look up like you can't see this on Kick, but if you look up a stenographer keyboard, it's not so much that these people can type fast, although I think they do type fairly quickly. It's that there's like a whole shorthand kind of created for them to be able to do rapid input. Okay, what do I put on YouTube while I'm doing this on Kick? Kick is my camera right now.
Well, I think it's borne out evidence, but
Your camera's up on YouTube? Yeah, I have to take it down. We'll have this in the background. Hopefully it's not too distracting, is it?
We have enough money in our the government wasn't putting it into. They have a right to yell at me. I'm not saying they don't. Sending it to the Vatican and putting it into DEI. They put so many billions into DEI. Well, are we spray painting buildings?
Citizen just got caught lying and using fake images on X. I know, you're all really surprised. But anyway, he posted, unacceptable. This is how Trump is treating troops currently deployed in Los Angeles. Sources said the troops arrived without federal funding for food, water, fuel, equipment, or lodging. And that same person said state officials in the California National Guard were not to blame. Wow. And then he showed us these images, except those images are from 2021. Those images are soldiers resting on the floor of the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. That photo was first published August 22nd, 2021. So that was how Biden treated the troops who were returning from war. So I got to say, Harry, you're right. This is completely was how first published August.
Wait, is there proof of this? Or Destiny, this is a lie. What is the tool that he's using here? Because it sounds like it's giving information related to the metadata of the file. That's ChatGPT output? Okay.
August 22nd, 2021. So that was how Biden treated the troops who were returning from war. So I gotta say, Harry, you're right. This is completely unacceptable. And since we both agree on this, I'm sure you have no problem calling out Biden for this bullshit, right? Because when you thought Trump did it, you tweeted. So where's the outrage now that you know it's Biden? No outrage there? Ha, that's so surprising. So Harry Sisson just got...
Okay. Argendo's lawyers too stupid to file their motions or whatever properly. It seems like the court's clerk had to correct whatever they filed. Yeah, they just, filing is hard, especially electronic filing, I guess. Are you guys filing in opposition to sealing the transcript, or are you leaving it to the judge's discretion? I don't know if we are supposed to file in opposition to that, or if that's a thing that they just make a request for and then the judge grants it or not. The guy on screen now is a Trump suck-off who abandoned his family. Based.
Actually waving foreign flags. I mean, that's what we have to do. Like, why should people get mad? Go back there.
So only my camera's on Kick and my thing is on YouTube. I'm gonna have to clean my firearms. I can't do it on YouTube because they're not allowed to have firearms on YouTube. So here you go. 1 sec.
You're saying I have knowledge.
Any comments on the post on the subreddit saying you should be more like Charlie Kirk? I don't know. Link them. Which ones?
Smack you like a man.
I don't
believe the judicial system that prosecuted President Trump in the January 6th are legitimate. No, I don't believe that. You can't be a cafeteria law guy. I'm not. I just told you how I feel. Here's what I view as the law. President Trump is the living constitution of America. That's what I believe. Well, yeah. No, Joe Biden's terrible. Joe Biden's terrible. Wait, you don't respect Trump, right? You guys are just upset. Yeah, January 6th was heroic. January 6th! January 6th! January 6th! January 6th! I respect Ashley Babbitt. We love to take pictures. Joe Biden was illegitimately installed by the Zionist regime.
January 6th was trying to kill the vice president, right?
He died from a heart attack. Yeah, he did. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up.
Can you put screen capture in the corner? Oh, my kick screen?
So there are anomalies. There are anomalies. No, I'm telling you, if you win Florida, Ohio, and Iowa, every election
There you go. What is this? Destiny urges us to learn from Charlie Kirk while he is failing to beat Charlie Kirk. I agree with Destiny the left should emulate Charlie Kirk. I just think he should set the example. To do so, yesterday's stream should have been 8 hours about. The protests are actually 99.99% peaceful. The violence is being overblown / manipulated by conservative media. The only answer to the problems exposed by the peaceful protesters is electing Democrats. Trump is a fascist. I mean, I think this has to kind of be... I think this kind of has to be something that everybody kind of agrees on from like the bottom to top for this to work. I don't think you can just have one person pushing this. Somebody posted, I did see this on the subreddit today. Like, we can't, like, how do we compete with this? We have to be on this. Jesus. The Neuralink. Ban all third world immigration, legal or illegal. There should be a moratorium on all immigration from the third world. We've reached our capacity. Charlie Kirk. It's time to ban third world immigration, legal or illegal. We've reached our limit. Jack Posobiec. It's time to ban third world immigration, legal or illegal. We've reached our limit. He literally just copy pasted Charlie Kirk's. Jesus. Did you see any of the Darius drama last night? Nope. Destiny, no, you're wrong. You need to be the trailblazer. Stop blackpilling. If you have an attractive message, people will follow. I don't know if I need to just, I mean, I do. I need to write this all out from top to bottom. I feel like I'm having, if too many people are not understanding what I'm saying, and obviously I'm failing to communicate it. The problem is that it's not an attractive message. That's the issue. When I'm like, being politically effective is not always the most attractive message. That's the problem, is that conservatives prioritize for political impact, and online lefties prioritize for attractive messaging. And attractive messaging isn't always necessarily your greatest political impact stuff. Merc punched. What do you mean by attractive messaging? I don't know, stuff that's just like fun and satisfying and rage baity and just undirected anger and all that shit. Logistically, they must all be signed up to some sort of alert system that gives them all the walking orders every day. How could we get you, Vosh, and others to get on the same page at the same time? We would have to be in alignment of our goals. That's the first step. There might not be that much difference between me and between maybe what me and Vosh would push for. Like he might be willing to come over a little bit, but Hassan would not be there. Okay, stop linking me things because people are bitching and I'm going to end up just killing my YouTube stream. If you're head of the DNC right now, what would be the first thing you would do? I don't know, dude. It would be nice to have like a group of, where's your consultants? Like sit down with like 10 smart people. Honest to God, that would be the first thing I would do actually. I would probably I think I would contact, like, who were the 3 most successful campaigns last election season? Who were the 3 campaigns that flipped districts? Who do they recommend as the best consultants or political operatives? And then grab a few big names from the alternative media space who talk about this, and then throw them all in a room with a couple of data scientists, people like David Shore, whatever, and then try to construct like what does the conservative apparatus look like from the ground up? Why does it work? What parts of that can we take and use? Like what parts of, and then how do we use the information we have to like channel our efforts that way, and then go from there. I feel like that'd be the first thing I would do. Like I want to say there are things I would do if I was a DNC head, but the reality is I wouldn't know. I don't have access to all that information. I feel like the most important thing is always just gathering info. I think that, like my intuition is the worst thing about the Democratic Party right now is lack of visibility. I feel like the Democratic Party is only visible in places where MAGA is basically forcing it, right? We're not forcing any confrontation. It's almost always MAGA. Gavin Newsom is very visible right now. Why? Because Trump wants to fight with California. It just feels like the case, yeah. If you were on Twitch, would it be much easier to get your message out there? To Twitch viewers, but this isn't really a problem of streaming platform or whatever. It's just, there's just a whole top-down different approach between how the conservative establishment does media versus whatever is happening on the left right now. Couldn't this same messaging from the right be from a Discord they are all in? Didn't we find, it doesn't matter, they don't need to be coordinated. That's the thing. They'll coordinate organically because they're all of the same mind. They want to ensure that they have political power, right? And they'll rally around that cause naturally. They don't need marching orders necessarily to all be in alignment on their messaging because they all have a shared goal, you know? Does Twitch have you on read from your last ban appeal? Oh, I think so. Maybe they fired the guy who normally denies me, so it just sits there until... Yeah, it still says my request was submitted. So maybe they're just like, fuck it. If we don't actually go over the ban appeal, then you can't submit more. Did you see that Trump is shuttering FEMA? There's no way that's true. Let me get a, I need a Red Bull. Fuck.
We're in the United States. I don't know if you guys know there was a war that was fought. There was a war that was fought, Mexican-American War.
This stream is the only left or left-leaning place I've seen being this critical of the protests, and I follow mostly lib or center-left outlets and people. What exactly is the issue right now? I mean, overall, I'm supportive of the protests. I think protesting is fine. I think there should be protests. I'm especially supportive of the protests on day 1 or 2. I just don't like that, every single protest now, everything that the left activates on is the left is being held hostage by a minority group of non-voters that fucking hate the Democrats. That situation is ruinous to the party and ultimately, I would say, to the country. That's the issue. Like, there is no reason for there to be any fucking Palestinian flags at this protest, or there needs to not be this. I've said this has been an issue for the Democrats for a long time, and now you're seeing it play out like very much empirically here. This messaging of like, it's all about the capitalists and the billionaires and the both parties are bad. Like, when people come to these rallies, you want to activate people in a certain way to where you say like, here's the problem, here's how it's being caused by that side, and that's why you need to vote for our side. It's very simple. I'm sure there are people. Maybe I might actually pick up an MLK book and just fucking read how they did their shit. In my own time, because we still finished the World War whatever book. I'm sure there are other organizers that have gotten this down probably much more precisely than I have. But without those 3 things, right, you're hopeless, right? The first part, what did I say? There were 3 things. You have to identify the problem, show how the other side is causing the problem, and then you have to give a path forward that ideally is on for your side, right? Right now, we're not accurately identifying the problem, in my opinion. Maybe this is also just overrepresented based on what I see, but like the problem is not capitalism or the bourgeois or the rich or our 2 parties. The problem is the Republicans, and more specifically, the problem is Donald Trump, and that he's acting in an authoritarian manner in contravention of the courts, his own Supreme Court, and the law. That's the problem right now. And the way that ICE is conducting itself, and now the National Guard has been deployed to California, regardless of how you feel about the other side, there is no world where Kamala Harris is forcing the National Guard down Californians' throats, down anybody's throats. It wouldn't happen. Biden didn't deploy the National Guard to subdue and destroy the Texas forces when Abbott was throwing a little temper tantrum about border policy. Biden reached out and talked to all the governors of California, South and North Carolina, and Georgia when the hurricanes hit to provide FEMA stuff with no strings attached or anything stupid like that. It's not the same on both sides. So the problem is Donald Trump is acting in a uniquely authoritarian manner. Fuck, I mixed them up. Kind of. Sorry. I would say that's number 2, actually. That was number 2 in the how is the other side causing the problems out. The problem right now is, that would be 2. The problem right now, 1, is that we are deporting people en masse, like without due process, in a way that we've never done before, in a way that's more aggressive than what's ever seen before, in a way that's resulted in judges being arrested, in people being, shipped out of this country on night flights, sometimes citizens being deported with family members. It's questionable whether they had the ability to stay here, if other family members wanted them to, right? This is a Republican issue, okay? The Democrats would not be doing it like this. Regardless if they would ship immigrants out or not, or illegals out or not, they wouldn't be doing it like this. 1, 2, and then 3 is, the solution is to defang them, right? If Congress right now were majority Democrat, supermajority, I actually don't know the difference between, there's only supermajority and majority, right? There is no like super duper majority, right? If there was a supermajority in the House and the Senate, Trump would be gone. He would be impeached in the House and he'd be convicted in the Senate and he'd be gone. Obviously, we can't have that high of a, we can't have that many people in Congress on our side, but look at like the big spending bill that they're trying to pass through that's going to solidify tax cuts for extremely wealthy people, or the way that Congress is letting Trump get away with basically anything by forgoing even the natural checks and balances that they have on things like approving the state of emergencies that Trump has authorized to give him the ability to do these wacky tariffs or the deportations. Yeah, I don't know. You could bundle that in a tighter package, I'm sure, but those three things that like 80% of protesters should be able to be pulled over on the street and say, what are you protesting for? Donald Trump and the way that he's weaponizing ICE against people is horrible. Okay, why? Why is this happening? Donald Trump is an authoritarian. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. He's not even asking Congress or the governor for permission. Okay, well, what are we going to do about it? Vote him out. Get him the fuck out of office. Vote him out as much as you can. That's it. And if you're walking away from these protests and people are just thinking, capitalism is evil or free Palestine, then it's like, okay, well, what the fuck what are we doing? What the fuck is the point of this? What's happening right now? Yeah. How do you defang the Republicans if you don't know how they got fanged in the first place? I feel like I have a decent understanding. I've been alive long enough to see the evolution of the Tea Party and everything else. So, are you going to set up a protest like this one day, like the way you wanted to? I mean, I've thought about it. It would be fun. It would be interesting. Fun is a little bit of a dark way to view it, but it would be super interesting. But I can't until my shit is over. Obviously, I'm way too fucking politically toxic right now, probably. Or it would just be too easy to. I could do it, and I could probably bring out a decent amount of people, but I don't want like a whole, like say it happens and it's like relatively successful. Like I don't want the whole protest or whatever, if I were to set up something like that, to be maligned because of whatever active shit I had going on right now, you know? Let me get a drink, hold on. But I would have to read first. I would want to go through at least one full like MLK book. I'm sure they wrote so much on protesting. It was probably some of the best like data science protest shit in the world. There are others as well, actually. Milosevic. Somebody actually emailed me a video. We're gonna watch this today. I'm not going to be able to find this. Hold on. Please don't die. I mean, I would have security, I guess. It's crazy how the person suing you is materially affecting Democrats in a negative way. I mean, kind of, but I mean, also, I can also just like lie about that. Or not lie about that, but I don't want to use that as a shield too much. It feels kind of scummy. Also, the person suing me, I don't think cares much about the Democrats. I think they're way, way, way more to the left of that. When the trial is finished, you're going to be coming out with a manifesto on the whole thing to clear everything up. Yeah, I'll probably write on it or something, sure. What's your response to the fact that there's so much more money, opportunity, and infrastructure around right-wing pundits? If the left doesn't have that, how can we expect them to be? I don't agree with that. I think that's a lie. I think that's a fucking lie. I think that's a huge fucking lie that people sell you. People like me, Vosh, and Hassan all make seven-figure incomes. Like, what do we have to show for it? Right? I can point to the, like there's the Lauren Southern stuff where she's making documentaries for like $30,000. Nick Fuentes did AFPAC with some small donor support, but he didn't have a fuck ton of shit behind him. Charlie Kirk, I don't know how much funding he got for the, but in the beginning, I don't know if it was that much for the school stuff, the Turning Point USA. Like there is money there, but it's not just money. It's like talent and a mind for it and the organizing for it. Like that's the, What makes you feel comfortable about doing the unfuck the right memes, but not other stuff with the court memes going on? The unfuck tour is like an influencer thing that's countering Charlie Kirk. I'm okay being tied to that. Everybody there knows my background and everything. That's fine. But getting involved in a big thing like this, just because I've got like such an audience and such a voice, like it would be like a worst case scenario for me would be organizing protests like this that like actually start to grow and do really well and actually attract center left people, and then the entire thing gets maligned as a result of who I am, and then it makes it really hard to ever do anything like that again. How are you not blackpilled after the Mark Gudgel fiasco? That was annoying, but that was partially on me too. I didn't really think much about, well, even I get lost in my head sometimes, that I just didn't think much about another person's capacity to kind of endure, I guess, like haters. Not to say that it wasn't like Mark's fault or anything, but you should, like I said, you should have been on that call. The mood was so different. Like I was so happy that, I guess because of the people that were hating on me, Mark had like the opportunity for the first time to get a whole bunch of like interviews and like run the media circuit. And I think it would have been an amazing opportunity for him to be like, oh yeah, I don't support everything this guy's done. He's organizing because he agrees with, you know, the principles I have, and that's what I'm campaigning for, and here's what I'm campaigning for, and then boom. But the pressure was a lot. But I don't think he'd ever had like, he'd never been exposed to like people hating on him like that. He's like the nicest dude in the world. Like if you ever see this guy, he's so fucking nice, and he's got an amazing background. Like he's traveled and volunteered all over the world and done stuff. So I don't think he's ever been on the receiving end of that before. But I never even considered that. The DNC guy? No. The guy that ran for mayor in Omaha, Mark Gudgel. Like, how do you address the problems created by the Tea Party? I don't know what you mean by that. The Tea Party organized, and the Tea Party had, they had people in office, right? There were Tea Party candidates. The Tea Party was like growing within the Republican Party and everything. Plus, note about the hands-off protests in Boston. They flew Palestine flags and speakers addressed Gaza, calling it genocide attributed to Trump, and it was well received by the crowd. MA is very blue, but especially, I mean, Massachusetts is a different type of thing, but it's a mobilizing issue for some. It doesn't speak to whether flags should be there, just a notable shift. I will say this, actually. You know, fuck it, I'm glad you said that, actually, because you just made me realize something. I don't have any issue at all with the Palestine stuff being brought up, actually. I'm actually completely and totally fucking wrong when I say that. I'm actually proxying that for a different issue. If the people were showing up with the Palestine flag and people kept bringing up, like, there's a genocide, this administration isn't doing anything about it, we need to get rid of them. If they were at least weaponizing that Palestine issue against the current administration, instead of just against all politicians or acting like both parties were the same, then I think I would have a substantively different feeling about them. I think I would feel much different about them. Have you addressed your opinions and perspectives on the protests and how the administration is reacting to them yet? The reaction is unhinged. I mean, I don't know how much further Trump can go on anything other than to start just like killing citizens, I guess. Yeah. Do you think if Trump was jailed as a result of January 6th, the party would return to some normalcy? Is he an anomaly, or would another Republican come along with the same strategy? I think my focus has shifted over the past couple of months recently. That's repetitive. To where I'm feeling more and more like the issues aren't on the right, the issues are on the left. I feel like a lot of the anger and everything I've expressed at how the right conducts itself, it's not actually, that's not necessarily true. There's just different things that I'm upset about. I just feel like the left is not, or at least in the online space. It just feels like the left isn't doing anything that resembles like what I would imagine politics to be. That's my issue. And so when the right makes a mistake, we're just completely and totally unable to capitalize on it because we don't have a politically effective from the ground up movement built. Trump also said in press conference today that protesters for his big parade Saturday should expect a big response. He said they hate our country and specified protesters over rioters. Nice. Your description of a good protest sounds like a great reason why the Dems need a shadow government. They need leaders to generate attention to an alternate set of policies. I agree with you. I'm assuming you're European. Don't ever use that phrase. Don't ever, 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 God, don't ever use that phrase in the United States of America, because we do not have, there is no concept of a shadow government. That doesn't exist in the US. And when you say that, it sounds like some crazy deep state shit. I think it's not parliamentary systems. Is that what I'm thinking of? I want to say combustible systems. That's not the word I'm thinking of. What am I thinking of? With coalition governments, and it is parliamentary systems, right? I think your minor, like the non-governing coalition or the non-governing party kind of has their own government, their own cabinet and everything to like have policy positions and all that bullshit. But we don't really have that. In the United States, when one party loses power, they just like kind of disappear for a couple years. And then they come, well, the Democrats do at least. Isn't now the time to make a from the ground up movement with a literal dictator knocking on the door? No, the time was before this. Now is when you're supposed to be activating all the environment that you've prepared, but we have to like prepare the environment. I guess actually I'm thinking of, fuck, I don't know what these words mean. When a heart is in VFib, ventricular fibrillation, is that what that means? I think that the reason why the heart isn't working is because, like, for your heart to work, there is there's a rhythm and there's like a process for it to actually work, right? Like one side has to squeeze while the other side is, and then it squeezes, and it has to work like this. Like if it's not doing this, imagine me grabbing your mom's balls. She has a dick, right? If it's not doing that, then the heart isn't doing anything, right? I think when you're trying to shock a heart back into rhythm, I think that's usually from VFib, and the heart. I think the heart muscles are just kind of like spasming, and it's not doing much because when everything is just kind of like moving and whatever, you're not actually getting like any blood flowing through the heart in any like organized manner. And I feel like when I see protests that are just misdirected anger, that it feels like a VFibbed heart to me. It's just a bunch of people who are mad and they show up, but we have no direction and nothing happens. And then it's like, fuck. Like, again, I look at the conservative protests and they're just so good and so focused. Like the J6 shit was, Donald Trump was like openly calling for an insurrection for like basically a year. And they all show up. There's like 100,000 of them. They have a mission. They storm the Capitol. They have a narrative. The election was stolen. They've got an enemy. It's anybody who doesn't align with MAGA. Yeah, they're just so focused in purpose. Yeah, I don't know. It's annoying. Do you see anything changing without leadership from the Dems? I don't know. The thing is, the Dems are so like lame. Like everybody hates Democrats. The right hates Democrats, and the alternative left media sphere hates Democrats. So it's like, who would they even come out and lead? The idea, and now I'm going to start to sound like a progressive, is that there's some silent majority of center left libs who just don't have a voice, and somebody needs to kind of step up and speak to them and activate them. And they're out there. They just need to have somebody who's speaking to and for them. But who knows? I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe those people wouldn't ever come out, you know? But Destiny, they are a cult. How can you fight against that? I think they are a cult, and that gives them some advantages for sure. There are some ways that they're coordinated that we never will be able to be coordinated. However, cults also have massive drawbacks as well. I'm kind of being a doomer on things, but I've said this over and over again. We are lucky that Trump is a dumb fuck. And I don't just mean that as an insult. He's very stupid, and we're so lucky for that. And I think that once Trump is gone, I think that the MAGA people are in big trouble. The Republican Party is going to go through a huge phase change that I think is going to be catastrophic to the Republican Party, I think. It's just going to be really rough because there is nobody, at least that I've seen yet, and we've had 8 years, at least 8 or 9 years for somebody to step up who looks like he can take his place, and nobody has shown up yet that can do that. So it's possible that once he's gone, the Republican Party kind of falls into a state of disarray, and then I wouldn't even say possible. It's likely that would happen, I guess. Yeah. Those center-left libs watch Sitch and Adam or Shoe on Head. You scared them away? Those are not the people I'm speaking to. Ugh. 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 Trump will have a hard time to transfer his charisma to his successor. Only North Korea has a system for inheriting charisma. Yeah, but the people that, North Korea also has a lot of power. But don't those things usually work on family as well? Like when Castro left, wasn't it Raul? Wasn't it his brother that came in? And then Evo Morales fought for more terms, I think, in Venezuela. Kim Jong, whatever the fuck. Wait, were they related? Actually, I don't actually know. Oh, no, Bolivia. I mix up Bolivia and Venezuela all the time. I'm sorry. Fuck me. Well, actually, hold on. Now I don't know. Was he related to Kim Jong-il, or do they just like rename them based on some weird like religious shit? He's the third son of Kim Jong-il, who was the second supreme leader. Okay, no, right there. Okay. We cannot leave the course of history up to the chance that Trump has no successor. I agree. I think, yeah. Do you think that after Trump dies or leaves and the Republicans get fucked, that there's a chance America will swing the other way and end up with Stalin 2.0? I just don't think we have that appetite for communist socialist shit right now in the U.S. Maybe once like the boomers go away. I don't know how warm Gen X is to that shit. Maybe yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it because they've never made any positive movements in that direction, I guess. Or it doesn't seem like they've gotten more. No, have they gotten more popular? No, I don't think so. I don't think they have. What am I doing? Okay. Would Don Jr. run? I don't know. I feel like I've seen Trump family members speak, and none of them are they're just not that inspiring. They just don't, it doesn't feel like they have it. They ain't got the it factor. At least not yet. Do you think that AOC has any chance at all? I feel like she does, but I don't know what the best place for her is. If it is a presidential figure or if it's like a House Speaker role or what. But I feel like she's only improved more and more. Like as she's been in office, so. Do you think Rogan was always a secret right winger or something? No, I think Rogan is just kind of dumb. I think as a society, I don't think we, I think that liberals have an issue. Is this unique to liberals? It might not be unique to liberals. We just happen to see it with liberals for whatever reason. But liberals have an issue where they don't debate or argue or defend their positions much, or at least it feels that way. And I think that when you don't defend your positions much, people kind of forget why they matter. And I think that happened. I don't know if it has specifically to do with the fact that liberals are so, from colleges and stuff, if that's the reason why, but you don't ever want to be in a position. There's like that meme of you know, somebody says like, oh, well, why is it racist for white people to rap the N-word? And somebody's like, it's not my job to educate you. Go deconstruct. And it's like, okay. But then when you go to the right, you're like, well, what should I do about this? They're like, oh, well, we have Prager University. We've got 50 million red pill courses for you to sign up to. We've got Turning Point USA. You know, we'd love to talk to you. You know, come here and, yeah, I think that was part of an issue. Like, I personally, and I'm not a huge watcher of Joe Rogan, one thing you have to keep in mind, I spoil you guys with this, okay? I'm partially principled in that, like, I have my fundamental positions and then my political positions come from those fundamental positions. I'm also, like, dispositionally, oppositionally defiant. I do like arguing with people. I do like it when people disagree with me. I do enjoy that. Most people are not either of those things. So if you get like really, really heavy pushback on some belief that you have, or if you get bullied over it, I think it is pretty easy for a lot of people to get pushed into stupid areas politically. I feel like for Joe Rogan, I feel like the ultimate brain break moment for him was the ivermectin horse paste thing. When CNN posted that video of him and then the commenter said something about like he's taking horse paste, I think that was it. I think he lost his mind at that point. He's like, no, it's not horse paste, guys. It's not. There's real ivermectin. And from then on, he was gone. And if you get bullied too hard by one side, I think a lot of people, it's happening with Anna Kasparian right now. I think people will just jump ship and they'll say, fuck it. And they just go to especially when you got one side who, as long as you vote for Trump, then they'll tolerate your shit. They'll tolerate your shit as long as you vote for Trump. Trump was a lightning rod for the static that Fox had been generating for decades. Do you have a lightning rod, or is that dynamic just for conspiratorial grievance politics? I mean, Trump was the right guy at the right time. I don't know if we're set up as much for that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if my a priori assumption would be that Democrats and conservatives are equally likely to fall for a cult leader. I think I would feel like, just, obviously I'm, as an atheist, I feel like being heavily religious and being a little bit less politically informed and engaged with institutions, I would feel like conservatives are always going to be slightly more disposed towards falling into those types of traps. That'd be my feeling. I could be wrong on that, but I'm not. Times are operating in pre-2016 politics. Trump has completely changed how politics are done, and they still haven't figured it out yet. A little bit, yeah. It feels like they're playing catch up a little. Do you think if Biden ran in 2016, the entire Trump saga could have been avoided? I don't remember. Didn't Biden run in 2016? I thought he ran in 2016 and lost. Or am I wrong on that? Yes, no. When did he run last? Did he run in 2004? 2000? Because I thought because Obama, because I thought he was going to run at some point, and then Obama said, no, you shouldn't. Oh, maybe that was 2016, so he didn't run because Obama said, fuck you. Not fuck you, that's mean. I shouldn't say that. The right has to feel shame for being so self-assured. They can't just get away with bulldozing through reality and planting a MAGA flag on the Hill. True, but I mean, you can only get away with as much as your opposition lets you get away with. And that's why I think that the first step has to be, the Democrats playing politics. Democrats need to get back into being politically effective. It can't be it can't be whatever this is now. I've said this a million times. I'm a broken record on this, but it can't be that. Percent chance that the next Dem is a moderate liberal versus a radical leftist? I don't know, it might be, but again, the radical left they just can't get, they don't have any politically minded people, so they don't ever try to convert more people onto their side. They don't pick the right issues for it, and they don't try to, it's all the same criticisms I think I had back in 2016, I think are still basically there. Progressive, like when Charlie Kirk was looking at things in that Gavin Newsom podcast, he said he was looking for issues that he felt like were 80-20 issues for his movement, and that's what they would message on. Progressives feel like, when I say progressives here, I'm talking about like the online content creators. Progressives feel like everybody agrees with all of their positions, they just don't know it yet. And that is it's a fundamentally a different approach to politicking, because then instead of them trying to find effective issues to message on, they just will message on literally everything and assume that if they're not winning, it's just because they're not being loud enough. And that's just, the Medicare for All is what might even trigger you guys, is just a really great example of that. Most Americans do not want private health insurance to go away. That's just a fact. You might be upset about it or whatever. But instead of like confronting that reality and trying to make a better argument for a multi-payer system, or just identifying another thing that progressives could popularly message on, they just tried to argue that, well, the polls were biased, or you had to ask the question in a different way, and you just need to message on the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it didn't seem like there was much desire to identify and then sometimes they'll even identify like politically horrible issues. Like, I need to stop hedging. You can't fight with white guys. If you want your movement to be effective, you can't identify as an enemy the majority of the population. That's just so stupid. Like, that's obviously stupid. It's obviously stupid. You can't you can't just constantly be demonizing white men for everything. It's so cringe. I don't know how common this is outside of, and I try to be really careful not to extrapolate my personal experience, but like even my like normie friends here, I know a girl here who's she's half African American and then half Spanish, like Spaniard, and like even she tells me that like she had a conversation once with a real life friend, and the other friend like unironically said, like, oh, so you're half colonizer, not like as a joke, but like unironically said it. And I'm just like, Jesus, the fuck, why? Why would you even say something like this? This is so fucking retarded. And this is like not like an online person at all. Well, maybe they are a little bit more online. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know how much is feels like the online shit is becoming more and more. I'm like, Jesus, bro. If most Americans agree with getting rid of private health insurance, what would your thoughts be? I like multi-payer systems more than single payer, but I don't know. I wouldn't have strong feelings on it. Do you confront people in real life when they say this shit? No, people don't. I don't think I have people in my life that would say stuff like that to me. I don't think they would be friends with me in the first place. Who throws away more votes, Dems with white people or Republicans with Mexicans and South Americans? I mean, I feel like Republican messaging has changed. Remember, people can make fun of me for it, but like the current Republican Party is not a racist party. They are nationalistic and they are xenophobic. And there is a difference. There is a key difference in that. And it's really worthwhile to understand. Like, you can be brown or black and feel like you have a place in MAGA because you don't actually hate at this point. You don't hate brown people or black people. You hate people from other countries, generally the ones that are brown and black. But that the difference is meaningful, I think. And it allows that movement to capture so many more of those people than they should be able to otherwise. I would argue they got there on accident, but I don't know. What if I'm racist, but I don't like Trump? Tough world. How do you explain the white South African asylum people then? I mean, it's an attractive narrative. I think the Republican Party is like primed for racism. Like, I think they could accept racist stuff. That's just not their like prime driver right now, their main driver. Also, the South African stuff was pushed on them by the South African stuff was heavily pushed on them by Elon and Trump, so they bought it, you know. Why have lefties taken over every single previously non-political internet space? Like every single gaming community I'm in is full of these people and it sucks. I don't know. Maybe because those are like cultural areas and they naturally play into a lot of the things lefties talk about. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm sure there are books and books and books written on lefty domination in cultural spaces. I don't know what the answer to that is. Do you think that the anti-woke panic from moderate progressive intelligentsia, for example, Sam Harris, is at least partially guilty of legitimizing the MAGA and ultra-conservative discourse? I mean, I would kind of say yes, but I don't think Sam Harris is a great example. I think Sam Harris is on the outer perimeter of what I would consider kind of like acceptable reaction to the woke stuff. Like, I think he probably went a little bit too far, but like I'm sympathetic towards him. The rest of the intellectual dark web is just totally fucking horrible people all lost to reality. But Sam Harris identified that and he got the fuck out. So props to him for that, because most people don't escape shit like that and you end up like the Weinsteins or whatever. How do you clean your guns? I don't know. I try to every time I come back from shooting. Probably don't need to this often. Maybe? I have no idea. Yeah, I guess it's when they start to malfunction, you could just clean them then. What is your best argument when someone asks, what does woke mean in a debate? I don't know. It would depend on the debate. What the fuck we're even talking about. With Sam Harris, he's still willing to carry plenty of water for people like Peterson in a way that's almost adorable as far as tradability of friends goes. Does Sam Harris still carry weight for Peterson? I don't mind. I've said this before. I mean, I've said this regards to my own personal stuff. I don't mind if people are friends with people as long as they are willing to call them out or criticize them. And I feel like Sam Harris does walk that line. Like, Sam Harris will be friends with people or talk with people, but he will be critical of them when they say really wrong, stupid things, which I think is an incredibly rare trait for people. Unless maybe I've missed it. Maybe there are times when he's more charitable to Peterson than he should be, and I'm just not aware of it. Thoughts on what Galloway says here. ABC just fired that reporter who tweeted that post calling Stephen Miller a world-class hater. I mean, that reporter was probably a lot for being a reporter. I don't know if he should have said all that. I mean, his comments were based, but I mean, if you're a reporter, like, come on.
To Trump, because he's all you got to these people.
Right.
That's my feeling. So.
But to your point, I like to move to what Democrats should be doing. I don't understand why a Democrat hasn't forcefully. We're so obsessed with grabbing social virtue and taking the higher road. I don't understand why a Democrat hasn't announced for president and said, and on the order I'm passing I'm getting congressional approval to arrest people who've engaged in fraud, to arrest people who have engaged in trading off our country's geopolitical power for personal enrichment. I'm arresting people who have fomented violence while using the military, while knowing that these actions were un-American, unconstitutional, and not needed. And here is the exact legislation I'm going to propose that will pierce any pardon. Why has no one stood up and said, hi, I'm a Democrat and I have actual fucking testicles? What would they be saying? This would be the mother of all, lock her up. Can you imagine what they would be threatening?
What's really interesting is
I agree with Scott principally here, but I think that the idea is dumb because Americans don't care about legislation and it's way too far away. I did see one idea on Twitter, I don't know who said this, that I think would be fucking uber-based, and I think it was somebody tweeted out that, unless there's something I haven't thought through, Newsom should activate the rest of the California National Guard so Donald Trump isn't able to do it without literally fighting for control of them. That sounds like it would be based. I can't think of like a drawback because that's like a confrontational, like, and it's a good confrontation to have, I think. But do you think you obsess with progressives too much? No, I think that they dominate the media landscape. I think that they have. I mean, they really have. I mean, I don't know what else. I don't know what you want to say. They do. It's not good. It's really bad. I think we saw it in the lead up to the election. Like, where were all of our... Look at the difference between how... I've had this same thing over and over again. Look at the difference for how the centrist conservative spaces treated Trump versus all of the left spaces. None of them gave a fuck about supporting Kamala. That's just crazy. That's just insane to me. All of your largest left-leaning people are getting access to people like Hassan, I focus on Hassan, I guess, but like any of them, the Majority Report, Hassan Piker, your Brianna Joy Grays, all of the Bernie flunkouts, who else? Who are your other big? I said Majority Report. You have like the endless criticism from the mainstream media, your Jake Tappers, all of the people that are trying to like whip themselves for whatever virtue they're looking for, to say like, oh yeah, actually we agree that Biden was a senile fucking dog and he couldn't do the job, but we're not going to say anything remotely like that for Trump. It was cringe. Cringe. Trump derangement syndrome accusations got liberal media shaking. True, it did. Do you think you're underestimating the utility of populism? It feels like every time it comes up, you say that people do nothing, and then you say they've dominated the media. When I say they do nothing, what I mean is they don't actually get anything done politically, like in terms of passing legislation or changing the country. They can dominate the media. That's not contradictory to what I was saying. Like, once Trump is gone, he'll have left his impact socially, but like, what can Trump point to in terms of lasting impact? Well, I mean, I guess the stuff he does unilaterally as president can destroy our reputation, but like, he has no big infrastructure plan that he can look back on. He's got no, like Obama has the Affordable Care Act. Biden has the big infrastructure bill, that's still putting stuff up. I guess Clinton had Bosnia. I don't know. Like, even Bush had their huge Department of Education reform and his wars, whether you liked them or not. At least he had something. Like, Trump has nothing. Temporary tax cuts that are set to expire soon. Clinton had the last surplus in the budget, I guess, yeah. Oh, true, actually. Some of the stuff that Trump has that he could be the proudest of, he can't even take credit for, like the Operation Warp Speed. Like, he's presiding over, and this is why we just need the messaging, dude. We got to have the people. Like, there's just so many obviously hilarious contradictions. When Biden was president, it was his fault that Russia invaded Ukraine somehow, and it was his fault that October 7th happened somehow, even though Trump said he would end the war on day one. Like, do you think the president has more or less control? And being honest, like, the president doesn't have that much control domestically over everybody, but like, do you think the president would have more control over what's happening in the United States or more control over what's happening in other countries across the world? Because now, I guess depending on how these protests play out, what did you have under Trump? The BLM protests, people forget, but like, lockdowns all happened under Donald Trump. The BLM protests, that was all prior to J6, right? I'm not fucking my dates up, am I? Yeah. All happened under Trump. Now you've got like these LA riots are happening under Trump. Charlottesville happened under Trump. Like, but he has no, that's not his fault. Hey, Sex Pestiny, you said you understand what caused the modern Republican movement started with the Tea Party. I guess I'm asking, how do you attack those problems to gain ground politically? All three of your mom's holes have to be filled at the same time before we can have a realistic conversation. That's the most important thing. Beaver, Biden literally said he wouldn't do anything if Russian only did a minor incursion. Did he say that? I thought that what Biden said was, hey, we've got a whole bunch of intel showing that Russia is about to fucking invade Ukraine. Ugh. I mean, I imagine if Biden did say that, I imagine he's saying it insofar as like putting red lines for U.S. involvement so that people are not scared of the World War III shit. Which in retrospect, I think it probably was okay to say that. I know that people get mad, Ukrainians and people in the U.S. I don't know if my mind was changed on this. I don't think it was. Oh, fuck, this is 2 barrels. Nobody really knew how that Ukrainian war would go in the beginning. I think it was okay to be a little bit spooked, right? Nobody had any idea that the Ukrainian military would be as effective as they have been, or that they would be able to coordinate and resist as well as they have been, or be able to utilize weapons as well as they have been. So like, I can understand a little bit of the hesitancy, but opinion of Pirate Software's response to the Lyric guy? I don't know. I read that thing from the Lyric dude and I thought it was just cringe and stupid. But obviously people are going to say my opinion is tainted on everything, despite the fact that I've been pretty consistent on retarded Me Too's, but I don't know. I think I got like halfway through that and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm even reading. If you've got like if you're trying to out some dude and I have to read like halfway through and I don't even know like why the fuck I'm supposed to care, you either failed a lot at conveying whatever it is that you're trying to convey, or it's just like, no, you should have never spoken about it publicly regardless. It's a waste of everybody's time. Yeah, the UI on the site was nice. People keep saying that. I didn't actually click through to the site. I was just reading the tweets, so maybe I should check out the site. I will say it is funny that, am I wrong or was this something else? Were they using, it looks like they created a web page or a CSS or Electron. I don't know what you build fucking web page apps in to rebuild the DMs, and then they added inside the DMs AI summaries or whatever. So you have like inline integrated callouts of Darvo and everything, and it's like, is this happening right now? The fuck? Holy shit. That was fucking hilarious. The presentation was good, just the content was shit, I guess. Do you think the deportation is immoral if the person being deported hasn't committed any other crime than being in the country illegally? I don't know. That's a rough one. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I mean, if you're here illegally, that is the risk you take. Am I going to say it's immoral to deport somebody who entered the country illegally? I don't know if I would ever go as far as to say it's immoral. I just don't think it's very pragmatic. And I think that there are better ways to deal with... I don't like saying illegal immigration problems. I don't know if I even fully believe that these problems exist. I think that if these were huge problems, I don't think that they would have to fabricate them on the Republican side. Like if illegal immigration was so bad in the United States, I wouldn't have to hear about the same girl, Laken Riley, for a fucking year, and I wouldn't have to hear about fake stories like Haitians eating dogs. I feel like you would just be able to honestly say it. So... Do you still feel the same about commentators like Kyle Kulinski who give good domestic takes but questionable foreign policy takes? Are you willing to work with this type of influencer? I don't know. I'd have to go back and consider it, see what his takes are. His takes are really, 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 really bad on foreign policy. I feel like I'm not a big fan of the whole America bad movement. But I don't know how much of the left that's infected. It's hard to say because the alternative media is so loud, and it obviously doesn't represent like even a plurality or whatever of actual voters. But I don't know if Kulinski has ever said that like Kamala and Donald Trump would be the same on it. Hopefully not. But it's probably too much to ask. But one nice thing that like mainstream media did, I don't know if they still do this. I don't fucking know. I don't watch their shit. That like alternative media has no care for is I feel like mainstream media had specialized people for different things. Like, oh, this is our international correspondent. This is our economics correspondent. This is our whatever. But like in alternative media, everybody just pretends to be like an expert on everything. And it's like, okay, well, time to hear what, this guy who has no idea how, any international law works. Time for him to give his hot take on whether or not this thing was a war crime, I guess. Like, oh boy, here we go. Like, it's just stupid. You have to go through the pirate drama. The accuser is insane. It looked fucking stupid. Did he really charge back like an $800 dono like 4 or 5 months later? Was that true? Have you ever thought about just not talking foreign policy as much? Like that doesn't seem to be a focus or a thing people in general give a fuck about. Republicans don't give a fuck and libs only. Well, I think that the foreign policy, I think the projection of the United States, I think is probably important. As much as we don't like to think about it, I think our foreign presence probably has a lot to do with the domestic life we live. So whether that's how powerful our economy is and the standards of living that we have today. And I think if that changes significantly, our views on our place in the world, like foreign policy wise, I imagine the other stuff would change as well. We just kind of take it for granted. Would you be willing to review Project 2025? This whole thing in LA's outlined, but not really. I don't really care. I don't see the value in it. Like, even if every single thing was outlined in 2025, what would change in terms of your analysis? Like, if people want to look at it to see where things are going, that's fine. But like, even if it was all true, like, oh look, it's 2025, this is where we're going. It's like, okay. I mean, you still analyze every situation as it comes and say why it's bad and everything else. I don't even think the administration at this point denies that they're like following whatever the 2025 playbook was. I don't think that any of them reject it anymore. I think they're all just like, oh, just eat shit. So it's not like they're hiding from it or whatever. Analyze the Fuentes Ukraine video from a content creation point of view. Okay. I feel like he's providing a more information-based analysis than anything I can find on Left Media, even if I disagree with this opinion. Okay, maybe we'll. What is your favorite gun you own? I don't know. I really like that M4 Benelli. I think it's cool. The AR-15 I have also, shooting that was no, it wasn't a lot of fun. It was kind of fun. I think the most fun shooting is still trap shooting. Me and Connor shot a lot of clays. So in that sense, my Browning trap shooting gun is I guess my favorite, because I enjoy shooting trap the most. What am I looking for? The volume fall off of your mic is quite bad. Well, no, it's good. It's supposed to fall off. Get fucked. Have you been hunting? Nope. No one cares about other countries because, I don't know. What exactly did you mean when you said Newsom should activate the rest of the National Guard? If he did that, it means he could dictate that portion of his order, just have them sit and idle? I believe so, yes. Because right now, okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I say wrong stuff a lot, and then I get corrected a lot longer, or I get corrected a lot later. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know what to say anything. My understanding is every state has a National Guard that the state can use, like their state National Guard. They can mobilize it whenever they need to. When the president comes in, the president of the United States is allowed to come in and say, hey, we're actually going to federalize your National Guard. So like when it says it, like Donald Trump is sending 2,000 National Guard troops to LA or whatever, those are California National Guard troops, but Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief, the president, has assumed control of the California National Guard. He's federalized them. When the president federalizes the National Guard, that's what he's doing. Now, ordinarily, that's only supposed to be done at the request of the governor. So if Gavin Newsom activates the other however many thousand, the rest of the National Guard in California, then Donald Trump would have to actually like tell them to fuck off and say, actually, no, I'm gonna. It would create a powered struggle thing, which I think is probably good. This shotgun is fucking awesome. If you shoot skeeter trap. It comes with a single barrel as well, but did I have this like this, or did I have it on the? I must have had it on the stock down, right? Risking U.S. troops shooting at each other. So, I don't know how to say this. I don't know what like fallacy this is. I mean, you can kind of appeal to appeasement, but you have to stop thinking like Civil War bad or, you know, National Guard shooting at National Guard bad. It's not necessarily like, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it shows that like times have gotten desperate, and that's like where you're at on the chain of the progression of events, you know? Because I think that people have an issue with when they say that like a thing is bad, in their mind, they just want to avoid the thing and have their preferential outcome. But the thing that's bad that you're talking about is a fight between two people that are each fighting for their own outcome, right? Like, I feel like you're almost in, are they called jinns? Are those the evil genies that like grant your wish in a fucked up way? You're like, I want to be the richest person in the world. And then he snaps his fingers, he makes everybody else poor. Like, I feel like people don't realize sometimes, they'll say like, oh, the Civil War, that was really bad. And you're like, true. I wish that there was no Civil War in the United States so we didn't have to go through that. And then the genie's like, your wish is granted. And then slavery comes back. And you're like, oh, fuck, you know? It takes two. Civil War is two-sided, right? It takes two people to get there. If that is the direction that you head into, then that's the direction that you head into. But you can't be of the position of, this is the fatal flaw, I think, when it comes to us messing with Russia and the whole Ukraine stuff. You can't take the position of, we want to avoid this negative outcome at all costs, when that negative outcome is a conflict, because your enemy can use that against you, you know? Like if I show up to a fight against somebody and I say, we're going to fight to the death, and they're like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, just so you know, I will never bring a gun to a fight to the death. And the other guy's like, okay, thanks for telling me. That guy's going to show up with a gun and kill me. It's like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess. You don't want to take things off the table like that. If you want to talk about like negotiating and real negotiations, you don't want to take stuff off the table like that, because it shows, what it demonstrates to your opposition is, okay, well, if we push it that far, then we win by default, right? We just have to push it that far, and the other side is always going to buckle. This is why it's really important, in my opinion, to not give in to like the nuclear saber rattling or whatever. Like, you can't give in to that over and over again, because what you're telling is, as long as you threaten nukes, you're always going to be safe to do whatever unhinged shit you want on the ground. You know, if we hit the nuclear war, that sucks. But if we got there, it took two people to get us there, and that's as fucked up as it is. Nuclear war on mutual terms is probably better than nuclear war on your adversary's terms. It sucks to think about it that way, but when you say we want to avoid this outcome at all costs, that what you're really saying is we're the only one that has to pay, you know? If you say no matter what happens, we want to avoid nuclear war, then the other side goes, no matter what the cost, well, let me invoice you, because I'm about to bill you for so much shit. If you're going to pay any price whatsoever to avoid this outcome, then you better believe I'm going to take advantage of that, you know? You don't want to why would you put yourself in that position? It's just so stupid. Counterproductive. Just ask conservatives if they would die for their country. If they answer yes, then they understand the Ukrainian side. If they answer no, they're not a patriot. Got them. I mean, most people would say yes, but they would say it's not our fight or something. I don't know. If you were to go to these LA protests, what would be your demand of the government? What would be something effective? If I was to ever make a choice like this, I would be gathering opinions from other people so much more than just relying on my own intuition on this. But I mean, I imagine it would be some kind of pointed request relating to how Donald Trump has been using ICE. I imagine it would be something related to that. That I guess if I was in California, if you wanted to go really hard, you'd say, I don't want ICE present in sanctuary cities at all. I don't think there's legal authority for that. I doubt you could actually do that. Actually, no, fuck it. I think you could do that. You might not be able to request it in a legal sense, but you could protest and make your voice heard. I only say that because it's not like Trump is doing anything, through Congress or whatever. He's just acting on his own. He's acting of his own volition. So you know what? Actually, fuck him. I think if you wanted to protest that, you say, I don't want ICE here at all. We're a sanctuary city, sanctuary state. We've decided we're not going to cooperate with you motherfuckers. So, yeah, protest them until they leave or something like that, I guess. Trump just spoke to the army, and they were cheering at his insane takes. 2.5 hours, my dude.
And it's time we
neutralize.
How is this not violating of the there's the name of an act. It's not the Hatch Act, is it? What's it called? When you're in uniform, you are absolutely not allowed to demonstrate any kind of political partisanship. Is it the Hatch Act? I know you get in mega big-o trouble for that. So why is he doing a fucking rally? God, this guy, he looks like fucking, tell me he doesn't look like Bowser. Tell me Hegseth doesn't look a little bit like King Koopa.
Koopa here.
A little bit. Come on. A little bit. Just a tad.
Oh, yes, sir.
If the hair was different. Oh, you can't see. Oh, if you're on Kick, I can't switch. Oh, no, wait. Actually, you know what? Fuck, hold on. Oh, my fucking God. A little bit, right? King Koopa, Mario movie speech. Is there one where he's like giving a speech? It's the hair is off, okay? Whatever, fuck it. He does, okay? Fuck you guys. Fuck, I wish Biden was younger. I think Biden had a good message. Maybe his age didn't even matter. Just nobody in the media gave a fuck. When he said that like he was fighting for the soul of the nation, it is true. I mean, that really was what I think that election was about. But nobody, I just feel like on the left, even in the mainstream circles, it's just so trendy to shit on America. And that just can't be the case. Like, I don't know. I feel like when Abraham Lincoln was talking about freeing the slaves, 7 years ago, the Gettysburg Address, he's talking about what did the founding fathers want for this country. I'm pretty sure MLK made a fuck ton of references to founding fathers, to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, everything as well. Like there's this, like there's a thing in these appeals where it's like, as Americans, we're appealing to the sense of goodness and the moral progress that we've made and the moral progress we can continue to make. It feels so much different than America's a racist, colonizing piece of shit country, so we need to change these things. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. No, I do know. It would be different. It does feel different. Stop shitting on the country. I didn't even get to shoot this. If you loaded one of these up and you went to the and you went to do Clay's, do you think they would kick you out? They would absolutely kick you out. It'd be funny though. If you're shooting sporting clays, it's only supposed to be with a single or a double barrel shotgun. So if you have like a semi-auto, they'll kick you out for not using a sporting gun or something. Some ranges might let you use it if you only load 2 shells at a time, but Sleepy with Joe Biden. Thanks for the tier 4 supper, buddy. To be honest, if everyone stops overreacting to everything Trump does, we can just get past this. The resistance has weirdly made him more powerful. I say this as a Trump voter. The problem is that no, I don't agree with that, is letting other people call it overreacting. Trump has normalized so many different things that are so corrosive fundamentally to what this country was supposed to be for. I think normalizing any of what he's done is catastrophic for the future of the country. But, not but. It would be, it's end of, period. If you had to put the fringe left in charge or the fringe right, who would you choose? I don't know, bro. Fuck me. I feel like both, like what makes it longer, communist countries seemed like they were more successful than the fascist ones. The fascist ones died almost instantly, so I guess the far left ones, but... Maybe this is a put up or not inflection point, and that you need to consider trying to affect political change. Or like you need to get an actual politics somehow. I think the most I would do, I think organizing protests. I have thought about this a lot over the past day or two because I've had obviously a lot of criticism for it, and it would be another way to leverage my audience too. But I can't, right? I can't until my shit is over. It would be so easy to malign anything I'm involved with. That's why I feel like a lot of your protest criticism falls flat, because you can't really direct or influence protests without being on ground in this day and age. What are you talking about? So I'm sure then you don't listen to literally anybody online, because none of the fucking losers in this space do anything when it comes to organizing. So I have no idea who you listen to if that's your standard. I shouldn't have taken apart this whole thing. Do you keep your brass? Fuck no. Ain't nobody got time for that bullshit. If you read the reports that a Trump admin now requires new federal employees to write favorable essays about his policies, I haven't, but I thought he passed that EO, or he wanted to do that a long time ago. Is this Section F, or am I making that up? Something like that. Was a mistake for sure. What do you think I'm watching this stream? Well, he's not even on stream. LOL. I'm more liberal at heart, but I got caught up in the Trump moment. Oh. That's just because the conservatives are just so good at messaging. I don't think it, I guess in a way it was the liberals' fault, but it's not. Like, people will say, like, I wish I could, like, zap this into, like, everybody's brain that repeats stuff like this. Like, people will say, like, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. Meanwhile, I said that on the Pierce show I was on. Like, who's the president right now? Because we're having an episode about some Biden thing, and I'm like, what? Like, Trump's been president for 5 months. Why are we still talking about Biden? Why are we talking about the auto? But why are we talking about any of this shit? What the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, how can you ever accuse this side of derangement syndrome? Like, you guys have obsessively, like, the Republicans are the masters of projection. They obsessively hunt for anything. It was years and years of promises about big things coming on the Hunter Biden investigation. They came up with nothing. They got nothing that they promised there. It took them 4 years with Ken Starr to find the Monica Lewinsky stuff for Bill Clinton. We had all the Benghazi and email shit for Hillary. We got nothing. What's your 5.56 equivalent? Is it 270? Or is it 20? What can you shoot out of a 5.56? That is the same bore diameter. 223. I have 22, 243, 270. So what, 243? Is that the one I should use? Or the 22? Probably the 22. They're always pointing to the other guy? True. How do you deal with emotional arguments like anti-gun or Palestine stuff where the facts get overshadowed by horrific events? I mean, it depends on who you're debating. If they want to use emotional arguments, then use emotional arguments back. Fuck it. Yeah, keep in mind that there's like, this administration has done at least 10 things that if the prior administration had done even one of them, it would be like fucking, it would be D-Day for conservatives. They'd be like ready to go fucking to war. The Trump coin is one of them. We could probably think of 10 things. The Trump coin is one of them. The Qatari jet is one of them. 1, 2. Am I allowed to go to the first admin? Because if so, I would say that the Kushner-Saudi deal would be 3. I would say private meetings with Putin would be 4. Extorting another country for mineral deals in the middle of war. I don't actually know if they would care about that one. The Greenland stuff and threatening to attack them would be 5. The stuff targeting Mayor Eric Adams, you want to talk about lawfare, would be 6. Targeting law firms with executive orders would be 7. Telling the American people that you're not always going to follow the Supreme Court would be 8. Imagine if Biden had said that after the... Well, they already tried to get Biden on that, on the student loan stuff. When the Supreme Court shot down one of the student loan forgiveness avenues that Biden went, they said that they were going to try a different avenue. And conservatives called that defiance of the courts. If he would have put a personal friend like George Soros, not that he's a friend of Biden, in charge of an extra government agency like Doge, this deployment of the National Guard, if Biden would have said he was going to withhold FEMA funds from states like Trump has, if Biden were to shit on states for how they handled the hurricanes, like Trump shit on California for the wildfires, what's the Kushner-Saudi stuff? When Trump was in office, Kushner was the guy who took point on a lot of the Middle Eastern stuff. Honestly, when Trump was in office in his first term, everybody around him was a superstar. Well, were they superstars? They were so much better than what we have now. Kushner was just a family friend. I don't think he had any special qualifications, but he was basically, he filled a special White House role, and he did a lot of the negotiating stuff for the Middle Eastern stuff. People would argue, I think, that he's like the architect of the Abraham Accords, for instance. But he also runs a private firm, and I believe that firm got from MBS a $2 billion investment for the firm, like after that deal was made. And I think that people would lose their mind if, like, think about comparative. Oh, the Russia stuff, the Tenet shit. Imagine if Israel was caught doing that with liberal influencers. That's basically forgotten now, by the way. What a crazy story, and we don't even care or talk about that. The J6 pardons. Look at how much they lost their fucking mind when Biden preemptively pardoned the J6 committee people and his son. And it was like fucking... The Republicans lost their mind for a little bit about that. And then Donald Trump literally just comes out and says, I'm trying to find a way to go after the J6 committee people, but Biden fucked it up with their preemptive pardons. And we're like, oh, well, thanks for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Makes me feel better about some debates I had on it. How do you think religious people justify their rallying behind Trump, even though that undermines everything they should stand for? I think this ties into what I was complaining about for Nathan's field trip. in that people are way too afraid to talk about politics, and it makes some things sterile that should be incredibly vibrant and dynamic. So I feel like, and again, I might be over-selecting for my personal history and engagement with topics, but I feel like history was just really boring in school, largely because I didn't give a fuck about any of it, because like, why should I even care? But I feel like the inability to connect our history with what's going on today in the United States, because teachers are so afraid of getting political, I feel like that's a negative. I feel like it's a bad thing. And I would say the same thing about religion too. Like if you go to church and they're giving sermons, or I called it sermon. Somebody says it's not a sermon. What is it called when the priest, like, they read from the Bible, and then I guess if you go to a good church, or listen to a Catholic church, they read from the Bible, they read a passage, and then usually he'll like talk to you guys, like, what does it mean? Oh, the homily. I think that's one thing. What does it mean when Jacob was, going to sacrifice this? Or what does it mean when Jesus said this? Or what did it, like he'll talk to you, and then they try to make it relatable to your current life. And people, I think, people view their religion as part of a, it's not crystallarium, antiquarium. What do you call it when you have like a glass thing and then you like fill it with sand, you put stuff in there, and it's just like, it's this thing that's in like a glass vase and it goes up on a shelf and you look at it and you don't actually, is it a terrarium? Is that what I'm thinking of? It's not live, it's like there and you don't touch it and it just stays there frozen away from everything else forever. People view their religion sometimes like that, or their history like that, and you're not engaging honestly with your religion or with your history if you can't relate it to what's going on in the modern era and what's happening today. And I feel like that's a big problem. This ties into when I argue with people, and when I'm talking to you guys, I always say this is why it's so important to ground everything out in an example. Don't tell me that you're in favor of freedom of speech without telling me what that means. Or don't tell me you're in favor of, equal rights or whatever else if you're not willing to, elucidate or give me examples on what you mean by that. Because we could have the same concept, or we could have the same like high-level concept, but our conceptualization of how it plays out in reality might be completely and totally fucking different. And I think that's important to, know. This thing didn't break. Somebody said this would break, and now I see why they said it would break. But I think because of the way this attaches to the rail system, it just falls off instead of actually, which is nice, I guess. So we'll see if that actually happens. It took a long time to get the scope zeroed, but the laser dot worked immediately. I don't know why. Well, I guess because the laser doesn't really have much of an offset. It does a little bit, but it's probably not supposed to be accurate out past like 50 to 100 yards, I guess. But is there a reason beyond it looks cool to you to have your guns in the background? Like, say, a semi-reminder to the people that really hate you not to come over. I mean, it's the thing that I'm interested in. I guess it signals that I'm not like a crazy lib. And it's like the most expensive stuff I own that I can like showcase. Like, I don't collect anything else or whatever, so. You're gonna watch the Lily Gaddis debate. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to restart my, I think I have to restart my kick stream. Hold on. Yeah, I have to. Okay, hold on one sec. What are the rules around displaying firearms like that? On YouTube, you're not allowed to actively handle firearms on screen. On a live stream. You can in videos, but not on a live stream. Okay, hold on one sec. I'm restarting this. Shit, I should have told them beforehand. Sorry, I fucked them. I'm gonna use the rest real quick and then we'll do stuff.
Right. See people like this. That's fine.
Mayor Bass is criticizing the protesters.
Monitor crowd that is making Mount Temple.
confirmados por el mismo presidente, Donald Trump.
Damn, these guys are all staggered out and everything, so they don't get hit by AoE or what? When will you debate Charlie Kirk? We have an event in Tampa coming up. That'll be right next to a Charlie Kirk event, so maybe there, you know. Yes, my left ear. How many tens of millions of dollars are these protests causing in terms of damages and police spending just to arrest 118 individuals who just wanted to work? Probably a lot. It's probably a lot of money, which is good. Well, that should kind of be the point. And you could fixate on that, right? Right? They already fucked up on their spending bullshit. They already fucked up on their budget. The Doge fucked up, and now you're wasting even more money. Why go to Texas and deport people? That's what you really want to do, you know? Yeah, I said this before. I feel like you should make Republicans like really own that argument. If you think illegal immigrants are destroying the fucking country and you hate California anyway, then let them destroy California. Fuck it. Why would you send ICE into California to enforce illegal immigration stuff that Californians clearly don't give a fuck about, you know? How can you have this single left ear bullshit? Come on, guys. Wow. Wow.
Wow. That's a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful sight to be with you in a place called Fort Bragg.
Wait, what did we see? What happened? Did I miss something? Gold. Wait, did I miss a golden meow? Fuck. Oh, we got comboed away.
Can you believe they changed that name in the last administration for a little bit? But we'll forget all about that. Well, we're going to forget all about it. I want to just say God bless the U.S. Army and God.
Why did they change Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty? Fort Bragg changed its name to Fort Liberty, part of U.S. Army plan to rename installations honoring Confederate soldiers. Oh, I thought they were renaming stuff because they said it was like a World War II thing. Okay.
God bless the USA. Great place, great group. I want to.
It's Fort Bragg again, but it's not the Confederate General Dude anymore. If I recall, it's someone else. They found another Bragg. Isn't that kind of retarded? I am naming this memorial the Hitler Memorial. What? There was actually this really chill dude, okay, from Austria, and his name was John Hitler, okay? He volunteered, he did, okay. Does he have the same last name as Adolf Hitler? Sure, but I mean, like, what, you think he's the only guy with that name? Come on, okay? This is the John Hitler Memorial, guys. Okay.
Thank so many incredible soldiers and paratroopers, pilots, warriors for that awesome display of pure, unrivaled American military might. I just saw something that was crazy. You don't want to mess.
I'll say this right now as a qualifier, but I would be shocked if I was wrong. If Donald Trump did a speech here and it was completely and totally apolitical, he didn't say anything about the ongoing political situation or anything about the other political party, anything, then there's a world where this type of stuff is okay-ish, although it's very weird in the middle of everything that's happening. But there's like, you can, if you go to the outer perimeter of the most charitable interpretation of anything ever, you maybe could get away with it. But so we have our first, well, actually, in chat, Just Brandon wants to do this. It's actually very common. So it's actually not very common to mobilize the National Guard against the will of a governor, and then to also say you're going to do a military-style parade on your birthday. That's actually not very common at all. It is quite common that you have these speeches around renaming bases or commemorating things or whatever, but they shouldn't be political in nature, right? Otherwise, it's... I mean, we have a thing called the Hatch Act, which is basically supposed to say that people in the military, people working in the government, You're supposed to be nonpartisan. I'm pretty sure for the military, if you're in uniform, you're not allowed to have like any political stuff displayed at all near your uniform. Like you're not allowed to do that. You can't like I don't think you're supposed to like wear your military uniform and then go up with like a "Make America Great" or Obama sign. Like I think you get in trouble for that. But so I mean, like if he starts talking about California and how evil Newsom is with the whole military behind him, I am repeating myself, but like this is fascist, obviously shit. I mean, like I mean, it doesn't get any more fascist than that, right? Your leader, I don't even want to call him the president, the leader of your country with the military behind him. But we'll listen to the speech first before I start judging it.
I've been saying a long time, we have the best. Nobody even comes close, but they just gave me a display that you might be lucky not to see it because it's a little scary. It was beautiful to watch. Let's hear it for the Army Special Operations and Command and the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps. What a show it was and what a show it continues to be. And
I've seen the video of the cops in LA trampling the guy with the horses. I've seen a couple. If there are longer videos, I'd be interested, but I always reserve judgment until I see full videos of shit.
Saturday is going to be a big day in Washington, D.C. You know, a lot of people said, we don't want to do that. I say, yeah, we do. We want to show off a little bit. You know, recently, other countries celebrated the victory of World War I. France was celebrating, really. They were all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is the USA, and we're the ones that won the war. Without us, you'd all be...
You missed my super chat. Please answer. My mom has a poli-sci degree, used to be lib, and now is a burn it all down lefty. Where do I start to approach the conversation to defend capitalism? What do you want me to say? I can't debate your mom. I don't know what to say. Good luck. She's lost.
Speaking German right now. Maybe a little Japanese thrown in. But we won the war. And we don't
Major props to Donald Trump for knowing at least two of our enemies in World War II. Honest to God, I'm impressed.
Celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday.
World War I. Oh, is this about World War I? Oh, never mind. Okay, well, take that back then. Never mind. Wait, what is he? Wait, what?
The war without the only one that does World War I. France was.
Oh no! I try so hard. I try to give credit where I can. I try so hard to give credit where I can. Okay. Jesus Christ.
Celebrating, really. They were all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is the USA, and we're the ones that won the war. Without us, you'd all be speaking German right now. Maybe a little Japanese thrown in. But we won the war. And we don't celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday, and we're going to celebrate from now on. We're going to celebrate our greatness, our achievements. This week we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army. For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fires of battle and obliterated America's enemies. There's never been anything like it. There's never been a force like this. And I rebuilt it. I gave you so much money for 4 years. It was crazy. And we just approved our largest budget for military operations, over $1 trillion. We've never.
Wait, did the big beautiful bill pass? Fuck, I've been my past like week and a half have been mindfucked. No? What is he talking about then? When he says pass, does he just mean that this is part of the big beautiful bill, or he's just fucking retarded? I don't know. It passed the House? Okay, so he's just retarded. Okay.
Never even come close.
Nice cutting the budget and cutting the deficit also, by the way, but
our army has smashed foreign empires, humbled kings, toppled tyrants, and hunted terrorist savages through the very gates of hell.
Obviously, you can't debate my mom. I want to understand your approach to talking to these people. Do you really believe there's nothing we can say? It depends on how. Do you want to be mean or do you want to be nice? If you want to be nice, then you say like, okay, well, mom, like, let's say they want to do this. Like, how Like, what is even what should we start doing first? Or how do we make this work or something? I don't know. Ask them basic questions, poke and prod. What if I want to start a private company, Mom? What am I going to do? If you want to be mean, then say, point to me in history, which country you want us to be like. Where are your successful communist socialist countries that you want us to emulate? Please point to one. And then we can talk about their outcomes and what happened to them and see if we'd be preferential or not. And then be an asshole about it. I don't know.
Our soldiers do not rest until they win. You know that better than anybody. From June 1775 to June 2025, those foolish enough to challenge America's army have been met with unyielding strength, unbreakable spirit, and unstoppable, overwhelming force. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion. That's what happens, unfortunately. It doesn't sound very nice, but it's true, isn't it? The last sound you ever hear will be the dueling howl of Black Hawks in the dead of night, the thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade charging over the horizon. That brigade is going to charge like you've never seen before, and hopefully I can keep you out of that, but if I don't, you're...
Just you sound tired. I'm sick still. I'm waiting for my voice to recover, okay? I don't know what you want me to do. My body can only work so fast. I'm old now, okay? Our sickness lasts a little longer.
Ready, is that right? If I can keep you out of it, if I keep you out of it, that's okay, but if we need it, you're ready. It's called peace through strength, isn't it? Peace through strength. For our adversaries, there's no greater fear than the United States Army. They all fear us, and we have the greatest force anywhere on earth. You read different stories that others are building and building and building. We have a force like no other. They said it would take 5 years to defeat ISIS. We did it in 4 weeks.
It's so cringe how much he holds on to the same three talking. Oh my God, dude. It's got to be so fucking boring. I say this over and over again, but it's not. I guess they love it, huh?
4 weeks. We let him go. Unlike other of your leaders, I let him go. And we had General Raisin Kane, who's now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, because I liked him. He was a warrior. He was a great warrior. And now he's been rewarded for his incredible work. But they said it would take 5 years. We did it in 4 weeks. Someday I'm going to ask him to explain that one to me. But it was the television generals that said that. The real generals got out and...
Again, I understand because Trump is a retard, it's whatever, but he needs to explain it. You're the commander-in-chief. What do you mean? Do you not know what was happening at the time? You have no fucking idea what was going on? What do you mean you need him to explain it to you? What?
5 years. We did it in 4 weeks. Someday I'm going to ask him to explain that one to me.
Okay.
But it was the television generals that said that. The real generals got out and fought, and nobody fought like them ever. But for the American people, there's no greater pride because you are the righteous sword of American justice and the ultimate shield of American freedom. This week, we remember that we only have a country because we first had an army. The army was first. In fact, the army was even before the country. You know that, right? 1 year before the country. After 250 years, we still proudly declare that we are free because you are strong. You are so strong. We're safe because you are brave, and America's flag will never fall because America's army will never, ever fail. Never going to fail. Every branch of the armed forces has played a critical role in protecting our nation, but no one has done more fighting, bleeding, and winning than the U.S. Army. Nobody's done that. The Army has earned more combat medals and more battle ribbons than any other service, and 70% of all of the medals of honor. We give away medals of honor all the time at the White House to incredibly brave people, but you have 70% of them, Army soldiers, and especially our Army paratroopers, truly go all the way. You know that expression, all the way. It's one of your beautiful expressions. As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation, for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for every patriot who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that? We thank you from the absolute bottom of our hearts. Few places loom larger in Army lore than where we are gathered today. The one and only Fort Bragg. The one and only Fort Bragg. But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, I came here numerous times and everybody, they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing? We won a lot of battles from this place, and that's the way it is. It wasn't even close. When Pete and some of the generals came to see me, I said, not even close, not even close. This is the home of the Green Berets, the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. We know what 82nd Airborne Division is. This is where the GIs who won the Second World War learned to pack their parachutes and push howitzers and go right into those C-47s with lots of arms and push them right out those big, beautiful doors and wield their bayonets and pry the enemy from the hedgerows of the French countryside. France needed us badly. We were there. A lot of people needed us badly. They still do, maybe worse than ever. It was here in the soil that the Army forged the metal that held strong at Bastogne. It was here the mighty paratroopers earned their wings before they rained down death from above to liberate Sicily, Normandy, and even the Netherlands. That's right. We saved the Netherlands. Every inch of this base is steeped in the legacy of those warriors who have said with pride, sir, I trained at Fort Bragg, sir. That was pretty cool. And that is why we restored the historic name of this very, very special place. I know if it could be the same place. Fort Bragg is in. That's the name. And Fort Bragg, it shall always remain. That's never going to be happening again.
Clapper.
And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, look at them. Look at them all. Oh, yeah, what I have to put up with.
Oh, there we go. Got political. Yes, with the military behind you. You fashy fuck.
Fake news. What I have to put up with. But they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. I think it took them a little by surprise. But for a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee. We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change. And I'm superstitious. I like to keep it going, right? I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going. So that's a big story. We just announced that today to you for the first time. They said, why didn't you wait till Saturday? I said, I can't wait. I got to talk to my friends here today. This is a record crowd. You never had a crowd this big. That's an honor. Do you think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to thank so many great leaders here today, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who's been great. By the way, Pete, thank you. And he went through the wars, Pete went through the wars. He had to get through a very hostile group of people that I think really don't want to see America be great again, maybe, or something. But he persevered, and he got there, and he's doing a fantastic job. Great job, Pete. Thank you very much. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, a fantastic man. Thank you, Doug. You're doing a great job.
I'm of two minds for what should happen after a huge disagreement. Like, in terms of, I have no Civil War history. I can't even tell you the year. I have no idea. 1865. I have no fucking idea. So just be aware of that. But like, after the Civil War, you have Reconstruction. I do know as part of my research on the Supreme Court case. You have you have an amendment drafted, to punish insurrectionists and all that. Congress does broad forgiveness. Like, listen, we're trying to rebuild the country. We're trying to get back together. We're not trying to fuck you guys all over. Like, Abraham Lincoln didn't fight to defeat the South. He fought he fought for the Union. He fought for the country, right? To reunify the country. Was it Fitzgerald after Nixon? When Nixon left office, they didn't go after him for crimes because the idea was we need to move on and we need to, come together as a country again. Or who was the guy after Nixon? Oh my God, Ford, not Fitzgerald. Sorry, Ford. When Ford came in after Nixon, they didn't. I guess part of the idea behind not going after him criminally and just doing the pardon is to just move on and go to the next thing. I don't know if it's hard to know if it's the right choice or not, I guess. I can't, if Germans are ashamed of the Nazi history of that country, as they should be. And there are aspects of U.S. history that you should be ashamed of, or at least happy you moved on from, slavery and stuff. The Confederacy is a shameful part of U.S. history, even ignoring the slavery aspect. They tried to destroy, what I would argue, went on to become the greatest country on the planet. It was almost an early end to a historically unique democracy. It was almost a statement to the rest of the world that the idea of a system of governance by people with no kings, with voted, like it just can't work, right? Or it's already breaking apart. It was such a stain on our history, and it was almost the end of the American project. And the idea that you would celebrate or fly things related to the Confederacy is like, what in the actual fuck is wrong with you? Unless you actually hate the country in which you guys based, right? If you want to be a hater, that's fine. But the same way that I see lefties, flying commie flags and shit, I feel like right people flying Confederate shit, that's the same shit in my mind. That's just insane to me. But
doing a great job. Way up from the last administration, Veterans Administration. It's way up. You saw the recent poll. The people are happy. They weren't happy a couple of years ago. They were really happy 5 years ago. But it went downhill from there. We did so much. We got you medical. If you had to wait, if you had to delay at all, you go out to see a private doctor. We pay the bill. You take care of it. You don't wait for 6 months and end up getting very sick on something that could have been done with a little shot or a pill. We did that. Then they wanted to drop that. I said, we're not dropping it. But Doug, I'm proud of you. I just heard some great things. Thank you very much. The Secretary of the Army, a really brilliant young guy, went to Yale, can't have everything. Top student, Dan Driscoll. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. And we have your senators, Senator Ted Budd and Senator Tom Tillis. Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Congressman Richard Hudson, Pat Harrigan. Where's Pat?
people in the South are taught that the Civil War was about states' rights, so when the Confederates looked like they were just defending states' rights, yeah, they were. The right to own slaves. I mean, what?
Pat, good, Pat, you're doing great. You guys are amazing. And we have the big brass. General Andrew Pappas. General, thank you. Thank you, General. Doing a great job. General John Braja. John, thank you. Great job. Thank you for today, John. General Greg Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Weimer. And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place?
Unreal. Unbelievable he is doing it. So fucking gross. They should throw the book. Somebody should be writing down every single like literally every single one. If this motherfucker speeds and gets a parking ticket, not that this fat fucking retard can even drive anymore, they should throw the book at him for it.
Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like the houses were burning a number of months ago. Generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California.
I genuinely want him to not die in the next 4 years so that I can see him put in jail. True, and we would never advocate for killing anybody here or anything like that ever. My FBI agent, I love you. We don't do that here. But the reality is you really shouldn't want him to die, because if Trump dies in any way possible, it will be seen as an assassination. There is no way, and I think you can actually honestly ask a conservative this, and I think that conservatives these days, I think they will admit that. If you ask a conservative, if Trump died tomorrow from a heart attack, he's old, he's a little overweight, not the healthiest kind of, if he died of a heart attack, would you believe that's legitimate, or would you think it's like something happened? I think they would just tell you, oh, I don't know about that. That would be kind of weird. They won't believe it, so.
Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen. What you're witnessing in California is a full-blown assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen.
God, even when they were being like military weirdos, the older Republicans were cool. Do you remember when, okay, I only have fond memories of this because I was a hardcore Republican at the time, okay? So you can't fault me for this. I was young and brainwashed. But if you were a Republican and you sucked off the military, do you remember when Bush, he flew in, didn't he? Or am I making that up? Did he? No. It was when we defeated Saddam Hussein, right? Was it mission accomplished? Trump could never do this. I'm not even saying it's necessarily a good thing, but at the very least, it's, if this is as I remember it, right? That pilot. Don't fuck up, don't fuck up, don't fuck up. And it's an aircraft carrier landing, which is cool. That's a hard thing. Well, I'm comparatively speaking. I mean, it's harder than landing ordinarily, right? This is a... Fuck, it's such a cool amalgamation of different technologies. Aircraft carriers are massive floating battle platforms. We've got planes and pilots that have the electronic precision and the individual pilot skill to land on this itty bitty thing that's almost invisible to the eye, you know, in the middle of the fucking ocean. You've got a crew on the ground that deploys, right, these wires and stuff to catch you to slow the plane down as you land. This is a cool landing. This is cool shit. It's a lot of cool shit going on here. I've flown off and on aircraft carriers in those planes. It's fucking terrifying. The seats face backwards. Oof. I saw the one video of the plane, like the wire breaks or something, they miss it, and he just rolls off into the ocean and the guy dies. Not good. I think this was after we killed Saddam Hussein in the Iraq War. Oh, we didn't kill Saddam Hussein. Sorry, we captured him. My bad. He got hanged. He's in his little flight suit. He comes off the plane talking to people. Just landed on an aircraft carrier. Look at all these guys living in the moment because we didn't have cell phones yet. Disposable cameras. I think the video you're talking about, the pilot didn't die. He was able to eject. Are you sure? Does he not say mission accomplished? Am I like Mandela affecting this in my brain? Or was it later on? Maybe he says it. I don't know. He does look cool as fuck. There was a banner. That's the banner. Oh, okay. Bush doesn't even say we got him? Are these just not real memories? Fuck! Big banner behind him said it, okay. You are so old. Shut the fuck up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You think of Obama, right? No, this was a famous line. This was after we captured Saddam Hussein. After they found him, I think. In the hole? In this thing? Right. Isn't that... This. Guy throws the shoes. Look at how nimble. Look at how nimble he is. Cat-like reflexes. This one would have been a dead on him. He dodges it. Look. Threat identified. Trajectory analyzed. Movement optimized. Secondary threat assessed. No need to dodge. Just raises a hand calmly and coolly. No problem. Got him. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. All right. The Iraq War was bad, by the way. We probably... shouldn't have done that one.
Remember, millions of people were allowed to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted by stupid people or radical left people or sick people. But regardless, open border policy, the dumbest policy yet. I would say even dumber than men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Even dumber than that. They're hurling bricks and cinder blocks at law enforcement. Did you see they're breaking up the sidewalks and the curbs, breaking it up with big, strong hammers? These guys are professionals. These are not amateurs. They're breaking it up because they took the bricks away from them. They came in with bricks, red bricks, that they could throw at our military and at the police in L.A., who are very good, but they weren't aggressive like our soldiers. Our soldiers really were aggressive, but they all worked together. But they came in with bricks, they were taken away, and they had hammers. Oh, wow, how did that happen? And they're pounding the sidewalk. I said, what the hell is he doing? And he's breaking it up and making it into concrete bombs in a way, and they're dropping them on our military. They're throwing them at our military. Pretty good arms they had, too. Hits guys right in the face, big chunk of concrete, worse than a brick. They're taking them up to the bridges, and they're dropping them in the cars that are going by. These are animals. But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry...
Was the Iraq War bad because of the outcome? Because I think that the motivation was good. I think that you might have been able to justify deposing Saddam Hussein, but you shouldn't have lied about... You shouldn't have lied about the reason why.
The American flag, they only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing.
Like that's just a wild statement. Are you allowed to do this American flag shit as well with your uniform on? That's a wild statement. This might be a wild statement. I feel like every single person should be dishonorably discharged who fucking is cheering on that shit. Get the fuck out of our military. I don't know what the fuck you're fighting for. How are you...
People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing.
So, like, if Donald Trump tells you to, run through the streets and rape and murder American citizens, are you fucking retards going to be cheering that on as well? Like, this is the kind of brainless behavior that leads to shit like Abu Ghraib or whatever the fuck. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? What an unbelievably stupid thing to cheer for. If you're too fucking retarded to even know what you're fighting for in the military, well, I guess they send those guys to the army. I'm just kidding. You shouldn't make fun of anybody in your branch. I'm sorry. My parents were in the Air Force, so I heard Air Force so many times from people. I got hate for all the other military branches. I'm just kidding.
And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. Working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved, and I know the two senators from here. I think are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those 2 votes. The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze. You saw the cars that were burning, mobbing police officers and ICE officers who are the toughest people you'll ever meet, and they love our country, and they're getting really they want to stomp on them, but they're too tough. They don't allow it. And attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing arms.
One thing that I'm so happy that happened, wait, real quick.